The future of the Republican Party and the fate of Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Democratic leaders today announced that the House of Representatives will vote tomorrow on whether to strip the Georgia Republican of her committee assignments, her right to sit on various committees. The embattled Congresswoman, she's got a long history of bizarre, false, and incendiary remarks. That includes the unsubstantiated election fraud claims, also various wild conspiracy theories. She appeared to endorse violent threats against House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and other Democrats. She has also suggested that the Sandy Hook and Parkland school shootings were staged. So joining us now to discuss the situation is a very good person on this subject, her 2020 primary opponent from the state of Georgia, Dr. John Cowan. Dr. Cowan, thanks very much for being with us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So you ran against her. You knew a lot about this rhetoric going into the race, and you have said afterwards that your district elected, quote, a rattlesnake. Why? Why'd they do that?
Well, look, she ran a great campaign as far as attacking all the media channels. She came in with a campaign that was coming from another district that had been running for 8 months. She was well funded. She had some key endorsements. And she hit the ground running. I'm a political novice, first time I'd ever run. I ran a campaign as a constitutional Christian conservative, wanting to be a servant leader, trying to not make a career out of this by any stretch of the imagination. And she came across as a Trump in heels, as a fighter. She had a great kind of 5-second to 10-second pitch that she would give that was very compelling and convincing. And you know, our district is frustrated with the gridlock in Washington, D.C. They see the rise of socialism and some of the things that we might see in the extreme left as a real existential threat to us. She tapped into that in a way that I just couldn't. Unfortunately, she brings a lot of baggage with her.
And Dr. Cowan, Republicans are meeting today to discuss Greene's future. So what do you want your Republican colleagues to know, and what do you think would be appropriate action here?
I'm going to let the decision on that be up to them. I mean, they're there, boots on the ground. They know how to do that appropriately. I think I want Republicans to know that the people of Northwest Georgia they're good, hardworking people. They love this country. They are fed up with some of the foolishness in Washington, D.C. We've seen a lot of that. And there's a lot of frustration, you know, when we're on the conservative end of the spectrum. We're frustrated with how our perception of extremes on the Democrat side seem to get away with things and never go punished, yet they're always coming at us for any little misstep. And so this is going to be a tricky area. I'm not sure that stripping her of a committee seat is necessarily going to tone down the rhetoric. I think it may embolden her in some ways. And so I don't know what the right solution is. If it were me, I would be the one, probably the first one to stand up and say, you know, I've misspoken. I'm here to serve the people of the 14th district, and that's going to be my job, not making headlines, not making me the messenger be the story, but the message, the conservative message that I have to tell be the story. And I hope she transitions into that.
Well, John, she did tweet today that she thinks the reason this is happening to her is because she's, quote, white woman, wife, mother, Christian, conservative business owner. These are the reasons they don't want me on education and labor. So it's an identity issue, as she says herself here. But let me actually turn to the larger question of the Republican Party, of which, as you say, you're a proud conservative Christian member. Today, the Republicans are also deciding the fate of Congresswoman Liz Cheney, also conservative from Wyoming. She's facing calls to be stripped of her leadership role because she supported the impeachment of President Trump after the attack on the United States Capitol. What's your take on this growing divide here in Washington in the Republican Party? Do you see it across the country?
Well, I do. I mean, I see it in our own district. I think there is a battle going on for the soul of the Republican Party. And I think we all, no matter where you find yourself on that argument, have to remember that we have to have a viable conservative party in this country to serve the republic. We certainly have one in the Democratic Party that's challenging, bringing some things our way, and we have to combat it. And again, I think we have to get back to We've got to have our message be heard and not be about the messengers. We can't just be these caricatures of extremes on the right or left of the Republican Party. I wholeheartedly support Liz Cheney. She endorsed me during my primary campaign, and I think anytime someone is given leeway to have a vote of conscience, that they should be allowed to do that and not have any repercussions. I think that's the honorable thing to do.
And Dr. Cowan, I wonder, one, how much of a role do you think that social media and engagement and getting the likes and getting the press drives that division that you're seeing, or those extreme views that you're talking about? And also, you know, Greene tweeted on Saturday that she had spoken with former President Trump and that he supports her. If that's true, what kind of power do you think his support carries?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's still very popular in the Republican Party, popular in my district. I would seek confirmation on that and kind of see what does that mean by supporting. I do think social media is really an ill in our society right now. And I joked to somebody the other day, we may look at this like we look at tobacco now, in that it was something that was prevalent around, but we didn't quite understand some of the dangers of it. And it may be, when we look at this later on over the next couple of decades, realize, you know, we've got to rein this in a little bit, or we're really going to do some harm to ourselves.
Dr. John Cowan, thanks very much for joining us, sharing your perspective on this important issue for the Republican Party, and as you point out, for the country as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.